The Steam frame's not going to be as expensive as you think, but it won't exactly be cheap either. I've been doing some research lately to figure out exactly how expensive it's going to be, and I think what I found is going to make it pretty competitive with Meta. Here's the short version of my math. First off, Valve does not price hardware like Apple or Meta. Meta will sell you a Quest at almost cost. Apple slaps a huge premium on the Vision Pro, but Valve usually sits somewhere in the middle. On the Steam Deck, third-party breakdowns put the base model at just under $300 in parts, and they sell it for $399. So just about a 30% markup. Second, the new Steam machine. Linus Tech Tips did a cost breakdown and landed on a pretty confident $699 target. That little box has a full AMD APU, desktop class graphics, memory storage, power delivery, case cooling, and all of that other stuff, which is way more material than a headset. So if that whole living room PC lands at $699, it's kind of hard to imagine the Steam frame costing more than that. Third, the Quest 3 gives us a floor for what pricing can be. Wilson XR tore it down and came up with about $398 in parts and around $428 once you include assembly and testing. Now let's look at what we know about the frame. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 class chip, dual LCDs with pancake lenses almost exactly like the Quest 3, 16 gigs of memory and solid state storage, inside-out tracking plus eye tracking, controllers, rear battery, and a Wi-Fi 7 dongle. If you just ballpark those parts using real numbers that we get from the Quest 3 and other headsets and phones, you land somewhere between $500 and about $660 worth of hardware plus maybe about 10% for assembly and logistics. So now the big question, what is Valve going to charge for the Steam frame? Well, in my opinion, based on the numbers, the most realistic range for the Steam frame is somewhere between $599 and $699. And that probably sounds too high for some of you and maybe too low for others, but if you want the full breakdown of how I got there and why I think a lot of the other guesses are wrong, you can check out the full video in the link below.